Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Hello. Sorry about that. That was annoying. So, I am in roll 20. Got all my shit. Ready when you are.
Okay, stream's running. Awesome. For the last time today, I get to say this. Last session, you guys finished clearing out the mines of the northern side of the Ardland Mountains after rescuing Buttercup from the Jester. Not Lucifer. Lufier
No. Please
headed
God.
it off to Wildermyth. Lorelei is staying in town for a little bit, and Abyss and Valeria both headed to Ardlin.
Okay. Cool.
What would Amartia like to do?
Amartia is going to go to the Fairy Grove. Or the Fae Grove, I should say.
Yep, that's exactly what I figured. So, make your way north.
Right there.
Yeah, make your way north, and takes you majority of the day. It's later in the afternoon as you do arrive to a relatively large grove of trees, all in a circular formation, and pacing around the outside of it is a woodland nymph.
Okay. I'll just shyly wave. Hello. Speaking common because I don't know Sylvan. Unfortunately.
Just kind of looks you up and down and sneers and motions for you to go through.
Blank, blank. Okay, I'll just nod in respect and make my way through.
Okay, make your way through the trees, and the trees are very thick and clustered here, so you kind of have to wiggle through the gaps until you find yourself emerging into a glade. It is filled with little homes built into the trees, the house of pixies and sprites. And in the center of this open glade, as the pixies and sprites are all making their way about, kind of ignoring you, you see the naiad.
Yes, it's Naiad.
Pronunciation's a little weird. No, sorry, a nereid.
Oh, wait. How's it spelled?
Nereid.
Oh, yeah, it is Nereid. Naiads, I think, sea, now that I think about it. Like ocean. So, yes, Nereid.
As you approach, she gives a small little bow. I knew you'd be coming, though you took just a little longer than I thought.
Got a smidge held up, saving little poor sleeping girls and whatnot from villainous jesters.
Sounds like a tale.
Oh, you have no idea.
Well, we should begin. If you
Cling.
would please, and she motions towards the water. Your
Uh,
squirrel may wait outside.
Squirrel and owl and wolves. Unless they didn't come in with me.
They didn't.
Okay. Boobo was
Rachicha,
instructed to stay with Kaz.
nope. You didn't give
Oh,
any
wait.
orders to your animals. They simply refused to enter. Only Rachicha
Then,
joined you.
then I would have given them orders to, just stick together in that case. I wasn't sure if they came in with me, but okay, yeah.
Rachicha hops off and sits nearby the water.
Yep.
In his upright position, looking like a very furry gnome.
A furry gnome with a tail. And a penchant for nuts. Alright, I will step into the water now that my squirrel is no longer depending on me.
You leave behind all of your adventuring
Mm-hmm.
gear, just keeping your clothes on you. And as you get to the water, she motions for you to lay down.
I'll do that.
You lay down, and She gently presses you down into the water so that you're in the same position as during the dream. She's standing above you, you're under the water, staring up.
Mm-hmm.
Presses you down into the soil, under the water, presses you to the point where you no longer start to float back up, and then she steps away. And you feel the reverberation from uh, every single movement that she makes until eventually she's out of the water, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts to become still. And then drip, drip. With each drop, the resulting oh god, I keep forgetting the word for that. The resulting wave that comes out, feel it reverberating inside of you. And then you close your eyes. And you're in a place you've never been.
I am.
You are inside of a large body of water of some sort, down at the bottom of it. As you look up, you see the surface of the water above you. It's a pond of some sort, decently sized, and you're standing there alone.
Am I able to see, like, how clear is the water that I'm in? Can I see the
Crystal.
sides, or is it a little mercury?
It's
Okay, I
like
can see
standing
everything.
in liquid glass.
Okay. Um, what does the surrounding area look like? Like this, if I can see well enough. Is it just
You
like
look beyond the
flatland or
water,
anything?
and
Okay.
it looks like a glade, similar to what you are standing in now, but much larger. The
Okay.
trees are huge, hundreds of feet tall, with a dark red color.
Okay. Am I standing above the water, or am I still
You're all the way
under
at
the
the
water?
bottom.
I'm all the way at the bottom. Okay. I'll try to swim up to the top
Okay,
if I can.
make your way up and break the surface.
Do I see anybody when I make it to the surface?
No. What you
Of course
see
not.
is beyond the treetops of these gigantic trees is a pure white sky.
Disturbing. Okay. Like not cloudy or overcast or anything, like
No
just
color.
straight up white.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Um, I'm gonna try and make my way out of the pond.
Okay, you make your way up and out of the water to the shore. It's surrounded by the same grass that you're used to.
I'm gonna keep an ear out and call out, "Hello? Anyone there?"
You don't hear a response. And instead, shortly after you exit out of the water, you see the Nereid walking out of it as well. Good. Made it to the other side.
Am I still able to talk this time? Yes, she's saying this in character, or should I just keep quiet?
You hear your voice come out as normal.
Okay. What is this place?
I suppose you would consider this a sort of nexus. As I mentioned,
Uh,
Mother was the keeper of many groves, and so getting between them was a sort of necessary thing. This is a middle place. Would leave common phrase would be a demiplane.
have I heard of those at all as Amartia?
Your parents have probably talked a little bit about at least the elemental planes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
I guess it's up to you if you think Amartia would be able to piece together what a demiplane would mean, given what the word demi means and what plane means.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure, like, if they have had conversation with her about other planes, then yeah, she could figure it out. She's not that dumb. She's just a little naive sometimes. Okay, so why am I here?
Well, this is a place I've been to, and a few of my sisters arrive here occasionally.
Oh,
But I will be moving on.
wait,
The
moving on?
lake here is of a decent size, but I'm bound for bigger waters. A water spirit as myself is not so easily contained as some of my sisters.
So what happens to the pond in the grove?
I have made arrangements for the nymph to take over the grove. She's been a wonderful companion for many years.
For
What?
I said that's a comfort.
Okay, only Furt came through, and I was very confused.
No, that's a comfort. Okay.
And I will visit.
Interesting.
She is important to me.
Hmm.
But I needed you to be here. This to be resolved. She,
This being
a
taking over mother's spot.
sort of passing of the mantle, somewhat literally. She takes the sea mantle from around her neck and she rips it in half. And you watch as her form starts to shake and tremble and collapse upon itself.
And it has like that reaction somebody has when it's like you've just watched somebody do something very, very painful. So it's not just a wince. It's just like a are you okay?
You watch as she dissolves into water and part of the mantle sinks into the water behind, and part of it starts to slowly make its way towards you.
Very like gingerly, she'll reach out to go pick it up.
It's like a miniaturized version of the ocean reaching towards Moana.
Ah.
So
It's like, how did I know that
her
was gonna
her
be the
water is
solution?
actually holding the mantle and is bringing it to you.
Ah,
The water that makes up
okay,
her form. And
okay.
as you reach down towards it, she reaches up towards you. You watch as the water climbs up onto you and like snakes its way up to your head, and the mantle goes up on your horns. You see a partial form of the Nereid form in the pond. It will take its own form eventually. But for now, you have part of my gifts. And in return, you have granted me freedom from my small little pond.
I don't know if I should be saying thank you or you're welcome. Potentially both.
Well, either way, I will thank you. As I said, there's no room for me to grow. My tiny little grove. And while I love my mother, I do not wish to remain in her stead. You'll be meeting her soon, I feel.
Meeting her? I thought she passed on. At least that's what all the books say.
She's dead, in a sense. You'll understand soon.
Oh dear. Okay.
With my mantle, you have my gift. And so you are aware that gift
Mhm.
entails several spells.
Yay!
So, first, the spells that aren't limited: Shape Water and Water Breathing. You can cast
Okay.
those an unlimited number of times per day.
Okay, cool. So I can add, I can cast water breathing, which
On
extends to
others.
everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. It's not self only. Cool.
And it
Yay.
also lasts longer than your 10 minutes. But that being
Yeah.
said, you're now considered amphibious. So
Okay.
you no longer have the 10-minute
Restriction.
mhm. Additionally, once per day, you may cast Control Water, Create or Destroy Water, and Conjure Elsin. Conjure Elsin works exactly like Conjure Fey creatures, except you can only summon the same Nereid Elsin.
Okay. How do you spell her name? Ah, I was mostly correct, just not with the Y. So control water, create or destroy water, and conjure Elson.
Mm-hmm.
Destroy water, and those I can only cast once per day.
Correct. Once per long rest.
Right.
Additionally, you may now choose how the water mantle forms on your person. You can have it be the same as it is for the Nereid, which is like a sort of scarf around their neck.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have it be a water halo. But essentially, you now have a source of water on your person at all time. But it is not
Oh
safe
yeah.
for drinking.
Good to know.
Because it is mostly sea foam.
Got it.
But for the sake of casting spells that require you to have quote unquote a drop of water or whatever, something along those lines, you can
It'll
use
work for
that.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. All right. Those are all the time. Yay. If we ever go out to sea again, we're fine. Mostly. Mostly. Okay.
You'll want to seek out my sisters to receive their gifts as well. And I should warn you, you'll become more and more Fey-like the more gifts you receive. I'm sure you've already noticed your ears and your horns and your skin.
Someone may have pointed that out to me the other day.
Come, take a
Kind of just.
look. And she motions you back towards the water, and you look at your reflection, and you see that your your ears are like that of a full-blown elf. Sorry.
Yes, my elves, my
Your
army of
elves,
elves
your
that are
elves are
hiding.
much more like ears now.
Okay.
And
Huh.
you've got slightly longer eyelashes, and your horns now there's like these little buds starting to grow like antlers.
I get to be more deer-like. I get to look like a druid even though I'm not a druid. Huh. Well,
This also
I
means
guess
you'll live a longer life than your kind normally would.
Oh, that'll be a load off my parents' minds.
Your parents are
Maybe.
the elves, yes?
Uh,
They visited a few
yes.
days ago.
Yes, that's my mom and dad. They're taking care of a rock hatchling, last I heard.
Oh, what lovely little birds.
They are when they're not mad at you. Or hungry. And think you're food.
Nature does as it must, so there's beauty in that destruction, though.
Agree. I've lived in it all my life.
Come, I'll show you how to return.
She'll follow.
She leads you down back to the bottom of the water.
Mm-hmm.
She motions for you to lay down again. And then she closes your eyes. She just kind of gives you a little bit of a push. You feel yourself shift for a moment. And your eyes open and you see Arachicha staring down from above the water surface.
I'll reach up through the surface and boop him on the nose before getting up out of the water.
kind of
if I can use
scurries back a few feet after being booped.
it.
You get yourself up out of the water, completely dry as you step out.
Makes sense. That's happened multiple times at this point.
As you step out, the pixies and sprites are all doing a little bit of a dance and celebration. And the nymph is inside of the grove, and see she's crying.
Go up to the nymph and kind of peek in. Hello?
What do you want?
I just wanted to wish my condolences.
She's not dead. She's gone.
I know, but it's still hard to say goodbye, even if it's only for temporary.
The nymph just kind of huffs. Much in the way that a child who's trying to be as rejectful as possible, still like some tears are still pushing their way out, and she's just got her arms crossed and just.
Rachacha just kind of hops over and pats her knee.
And just kind of kicks Ratacho away. You and your rat can go now.
Part of his name, right? And she'll just pick Rachacha and go, "Congratulations," and walks off.
The pixies and sprites continue dancing, and they lead you on the quickest way out of the wood. You emerge
Fair.
back outside, and you see the small little like moat of water is just floating there.
I wave to it and then head back
Waves
into.
back, and you watch as it flies off towards the ocean.
She'll kind of just follow it with her eyes for a minute and just go, "Good luck," and continue away from the grove. I probably should check what my supply. Well, I'm probably gonna go back to the mayor's place or former mayor's place, just so I can take a minute to get a message out to my parents,
Okay,
kind of just to
you
see where they're at.
probably have to rest at the outside of the grove because it's most of the day's travel just to get back to town. And it's already late.
Fair. That's fine. If I need to make up camp, then I'll just send a message to my parents then of like um where will they be, and I'll meet up with them when I can.
Okay. So you send a message along that lines to your mother and wait a few seconds, and she replies with, "We'll come meet you."
I guess I'll then.
Okay, you set yourself down and, you know, cozy up with all your animals. Get to get yourself some rest. And when you wake up in the morning, your parents are both there, and they're both kind of like looking at you funny.
Yeah, I know. I look different again.
Your father helps you up, and your mother kind of places her hand on your head and on your horns, and your dad just kind of takes a little, crouch down to be eye level with you, and he just puts a hand on your shoulder. You look wonderful and ridiculous.
Thank you for the first. Typical for the second.
I mean, let's be honest. You were always a little odd. Most tieflings don't have wings, but I gotta say the change to the horns looks a little nice.
I admit, they're growing on me.
Ah, I think I see what you did there.
Hey. it's true one way or the other.
They do remark on whatever water element now sits upon Amartia, or whatever you decide in the future.
I think what I'm thinking is just gonna be it's like 3 rings of water on one of her horns. It's not quite the full halo because that just sounds more ridiculous than I think Martia wants to deal with, but it's like her only bit of horn accessory, I think what she would wear. I'm thinking kind of like what I've seen on other tiefling art where it's like these rings some people put on their horns. I don't know. Uh, I may think of something better. Who knows?
All right. Well, try to have it thought up before next week when you have to describe what
Oh,
it
I
looks
will.
like to everyone else.
Oh, I will. I'll get it situated. Don't worry. I'll get that figured out.
All right. Well, it appears that most of your friends have departed.
Yeah, we've all needed to take care of a few things. Um, but we'll be meeting back up in about a month in Ardlin
Hmm.
once we've got stuff sorted out.
You have any plans for yourself?
Well, aside from that, pointing towards the grove, I was looking into a couple things. There's a new spell I learned, but I need to get my hands on a gilded acorn. You two wouldn't happen to know where I could find that, would I? Would you?
It's a fancy item. We can
It's a
acquire
fancy
one in
spell.
Wildemyth.
Oh,
Such
perfect.
things. Oh,
I
Miss Tina gave us this, said it was for you, but you took off a little quickly, and your mother hands you 100 gold. Something
oh
about clearing the mines, payment, yada yada.
yes. We cleared the mines again, so that happened. So that'll work. I
Hmm.
also I was wondering, some of the monsters we fought, they're kind of resilient, and normal weapons don't hurt them. I've thankfully acquired a bow that's magical, but unfortunately, Kipcha and Kaz can't always do much. I was wondering if maybe you two knew of a way to help them out in case we fight any monsters that have those resistances.
Hmm. It's certainly not unheard of. Um, there are items for that, but they're generally something you have to place an order for with one of the druids in Wildemyth. There is a. You remember Hagatha, the old elderly woman, yes?
She nods.
She has a sister in Wildemyth that creates such trinkets.
Well, if I needed to order, I wouldn't mind. I just hope I have enough.
They aren't cheap, and she does make a variety of things. Um,
Mhm.
for overcoming resistances to magic. She's made those before, usually for ranger types, but we could talk to her about it.
It'd be helpful, because these two are kind of our frontliners and it makes things a little tough. And she puts a hand on both Kaz and Kipcha.
Kaz is like, hooray, hand!
I'm being pet. I'm getting affection, loves. She'll give him an extra pet for his excitement, and then just give Kipcha a respectful pat. It's like, yes, you are stoic, Wolf. Aside from those, I only really need to work on training with Bubo, as well as maybe up my studies in Primordial.
Well,
I'm still so far
there's certainly tutors and the like in Wildemyth that can help you with learning Primordial, and it sounds like most of what you need is there, so let's make our way to Wildemyth, shall we?
Like a good idea. Been a while since I've been in a real town.
Hmm. You know what else? It's been a while
Hmm.
since this. And your mother casts Windwalk on herself, your father, and all of the animals, and yourself.
They're all really confused. Like, wait, what? What? We're incorporeal. What?
Yeah, no, they're mostly just following along as best they can because their intelligence does not really allow for too much outside of that. But your parents lead the charge, and you guys make it to Wildermyth within just about an hour.
All right. Perfect. Nope, that is not what I wanted to pull up.
You arrive into Wildermyth and make a landing in a specifically designated area.
Perfect. That makes sense.
Shift back into your other forms, and all of your animals look bewildered and confused, and oh god, are we normal again? And it takes them a little while to get out of it.
Marty just has to keep going. You're fine. You're all right. It's okay. Maybe pet Boobo a little more because he's probably the most frazzled.
Surprisingly, no,
Birds, man.
Kipcha is. Your
Ah.
bird is very used to flying. Changing back took a little bit longer, but it was more just okay. We're done now. But Kipcha's like absolutely confused.
It's like you're fine. You're here now.
Well, that was interesting. Moving on.
Moving right along. All right. So probably first order of business just to get it out of the way. Because I know how much the acorn is. Technically, I know how much the other things are, but go find Hagatha's sister.
Your
That's what I want to do.
parents lead the way as they're having kind of a quiet discussion to themselves, which you do pick up on a pretty decent amount of this conversation. They're just talking about the rock.
Okay.
They also discuss how there was the pack of wolves that were attacked by the young rock as it was learning to hunt,
Oh, joy.
and how your father wanted to take the one of the surviving pups and bring it to Devlin since he was raising the direwolf. Devlin could start a pack, is what they were thinking.
Politely stay quiet. Off to the side.
Yeah, you
Time to
arrive
show
at
them.
a very lavish style building. Also, should give you the description of Wildermyth before I forget. So,
All right, we haven't been here in this game. I just keep
well,
hearing about it.
Ufir's been here, but he doesn't actually arrive for another like 2 days. You beat him here
I don't
because
get to run into the
Windwalk.
fear. Okay. Yeah, no.
Uh, so the base of Wildermyth is the gigantic tree that is miles upon miles large. Inside of the tree is carved out sections where the Fey Court live, as well as the Archfey that keeps the portal to the Feywild open. It is known as the Wilder Wood, non-pluralized, single word. Built
Okay.
around it is very lavish, kind of almost wood elf style, not quite. There are buildings that center around the trees and they grow up them. So the trees are used as a sort of foundation, as all of the buildings are built either around a tree or without disrupting any of the trees whatsoever. There's walkways up in the air. This is like a 5-tiered city. And it's not particularly large as far as like width goes, but it is massive because of how tall it is.
Okay then. That's terror.
It's a huge city.
Just to clarify, because I'm looking at my notes again, this is also where the lake is that we're not allowed to enter, correct?
The lake north of town.
The lake north of town is the one we're not supposed to mess with.
It's the one that nobody's allowed to enter.
Damn it. Okay. Thought I could nail two birds with one stone, but I guess that's not happening. Nope. Okay. I'll figure out a way next time. Okay.
So your parents lead you to a very uh, mildly lavish building, and they enter into the door. They don't even knock or anything.
Okay. She'll just kind of
Betty,
stay behind him and peek around.
Betty, hello. And a couple moments later, you see a fairly young-looking human come tottering around the corners. Oh, hello, Greenleaf family. This is Betty. She's the younger sister of Hagatha and became a druid at a much younger age. Um, she's far more skilled than her sister. Hope these give me too much credit, but it's true.
She just waves. Hi.
Oh, look at you. Last time I saw you, you were but a little baby. And what
Unfortunately.
interesting growth.
Um, adventures of a
Oh,
sort.
adventuring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no stranger to adventuring. Well, I'm assuming you're here with a reason.
Yes, I was wondering if you happen to have any items that help against monsters that can't be harmed very well with just mundane weaponry. For specifically these two, and she points to the two wolves.
Oh, aren't they cute? And she walks over and she starts speaking to them. And
Marty just sits there like, "Yep, nope, I'm used to this."
she gets up. Well, I can certainly do that. Take some time. But you're here for something else too.
Yes, I need a spell item, a gilded
Yep.
acorn.
And she pulls it out from her small pouch and hands it towards you. 100 gold?
I think it's gold.
How much?
It's 200 gold.
Right,
For a
200
spell.
gold. And look at the
I remember
spell.
looking at this. It's like I'm almost certain. I'm almost certain. I think I even wrote that down in the spell. Hang on.
I mean,
Bestial spirit. Yep, 200 gold.
okay, so you hand over 200 gold, and she hands you
Yep.
her gilded acorn.
Ah, this will be really useful. Thank you. And how much for the other items?
Well, to have them specifically made will take me about 2 weeks per, and it'll earn you about 200 gold per. But because you're a friend of the family, I won't charge you for time spent. So just 150 each.
Looks at her purse. Manage that.
Wonderful. You can also stay here in my house while you are in town, unless you have other places to be.
She kind of thinks for a second and goes, "Sadly, no."
Your parents look towards each other and back to you. We will be departing. We'll be back shortly, but we have some business to attend to back in the mountains, and we also have usual business to deal with in the woods.
Understandable. I think it'd be best if I stay here, though. Especially since it'll give me time to train little Boobo here. Kind of
Dad,
switches at her owl.
your dad gives it little scritches too. And you see Bubo responds pretty well to you, but your dad Bubo's just butter in his hands. Your dad knows all of the weak points for all kinds of animals.
He has been a druid for a lot longer. I am not surprised. How does she get most of her animals? Usually through her dad. Yeah.
Look, I got you a squirrel. This week, I got you a wolf. Dear, no. But it's so fluffy. No.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds accurate. That sounds very accurate.
All right,
Oh,
well,
look. We found a porcupine.
we'll be back in about 2 days, and then we'll be gone for a little bit, and then we'll be back to take you wherever you need to go after this.
Doesn't it take 4 weeks for the... Isn't it going to take 4 weeks for both items to be finished?
Yeah, so technically you'll have to leave before the second one's done.
Okay, before the second one's complete.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Okay.
Don't worry,
We'll
your
just make
parents can easily bring it to you.
Oh, yeah, no. Just keep an ear out. I mean, I've paid for it. I better get it.
Your parents stay and have a little bit of tea with, oh god, her name already
Betty?
slipped out. Yes. Betty is not
Okay.
actually her name, it's their nickname for her.
I figured. I just don't... You didn't say what her actual name was.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, eh. I know Hagatha is her sister.
Mm. You could probably guess her name based on Betty and Hagatha.
Mm-hmm.
She has a very witchy name despite being a druid. It's
I can think of
Beatrice.
a couple names.
It's Beatrice. Anyway,
Yeah. No,
they
I was
stay for
thinking of
tea for a little while, and then your parents both say goodbye, give you a kiss on the forehead, and make their way back to the flight platform. Hello, please leave a message.
Shut it.
Old school.
Yes, because there we go. It's fine. It's fine. People leave me alone for 5 minutes. Anyways, okay. So, all right. And
So
while
you
I'm there, I
spend
wanted
some
to.
time training Bubo, and go ahead and roll investigation with advantage to find yourself a tutor for Primordial.
Me
You
pull.
have assistance from Betty, and she implores you to call her Aunt Betty.
You don't have to tell her twice. Is her response like, nope, not gonna change. Ah, oh, god damn it.
That's just good enough.
Okay, thank fuck.
Okay,
It's like,
so
no.
she leads you off towards a school. It is massive. This is the third largest building in the entirety of Wildermyth. It goes all the way up to the beyond the treetops of the regular trees. She leads you inside and go up 1, 2, 3, 4 flights of stairs, just up and up and up, until she abruptly stops and she's like, "Oh, she can help you, at least a little." So Betty brings you over to there's a woman sat at a table flipping through some books. She is an elven woman, glasses, very long ears, even for an elf, and long golden blonde hair. And as Betty approaches, she looks up from the book. "Oh, Betty, hello." "Hello, this is Amartia, and she would like to possibly learn from you for a little bit. Okay? Hi." And she puts her hand out towards you.
I'll shake her hand. Hello.
You can call me Leah.
Leah, nice to meet you. Um, I was looking into learning Primordial. I've read a little bit, and I know some.
And Leah's face just lights up.
Oh boy.
Primordial is such a fun language. It doesn't sound like words.
No, it absolutely does
And
not.
she says something in Primordial, specifically Ignan, and it sounds like crushing rocks.
Amartia just blinks several times, like that. The lights are
Exactly.
on, but nobody is home. Look in her
Exactly.
face.
Mimicking the noises necessary for Primordial is kind of a task, but I can help teach you that.
Would be wonderful.
Great. Betty kind of takes a step back. Well, I'm going to go back to work. You can help. Leah will help you to learn a little. And when you're not working with Leah, you can work with Bobo.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
And Betty just kind of nods and takes her leave, and Leah motions to the seat next to her and goes and grabs a book off the shelf and begins to teach you the pronunciation for primordial, specifically Ignan.
Might show her the book that I
Sorry,
found in
Terran.
the.
Terran is the one that sounds like rocks.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right, but okay. In my brain, it sounded correct because ignin makes me think of igneous rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That
oh
was,
yeah,
that
that
was
makes sense.
exactly the thought process my brain went to.
And then wait, no, ignin is fire. That's right.
Yes.
Terra for a reason.
And
At
fire
some point she
just
probably.
sounds like rushing winds.
Yeah.
And then wind sounds like rushing winds.
Yeah, no, those probably get mixed up a lot. It's probably like
Yeah,
southern
that's
and
why most
southern.
that's why most people who learn primordial learn the whole language.
Hmm.
Because
I'll probably
it's
show her the book I found on the Trail of Chaos, the one about the
yeah, you
different
have
primordial realms.
Elias's
Yeah,
book,
that book.
and she kind of flips through. Oh, oh, is this kind of like, what do they call it? Humans have a word. Travel book. It's got like common to Elvish for some of the older elves who don't like to speak common that much.
Eh, yeah.
Oh,
Trying
if
to
it
remember.
wasn't really clear, I'm kind of young.
I wouldn't have guessed. I've lived with a pair of elves all my life, but only one pair of elves.
Yeah, I could see why you wouldn't really know too much. You probably
Mm-mm.
know that we have shorter names when we're children, and then we pick our own names later.
That I did
I
know.
haven't picked an adult name yet, and I won't be able to for a while. I'm only 50.
I wonder. Blue Fear has an awfully short. That's a strangely short name. Hmm. Well, he does act childish on the regular, so meh.
Feel free to ask him about it.
I was like, Blue Fear, how old are you? Why? You have an awfully short name. What does that have to do with
It's probably the answer he'll give.
it? Yep. Accurate. Okay. Last time I did this, I had to make a roll. I can't remember what it was for learning
It's
Primordial.
usually intelligence for
Ah,
learning new things. So
do I get
roll me that
advantage because I have a
intelligence.
tutor? Do I get
No, but
advantage
the,
to that tutor?
the
Damn it.
DC is very low
Thank fuck.
because you have two means of learning.
Okay. So it's just straight intelligence.
Guide yourself if you want.
Oh fuck yes I am. I was assuming I wouldn't, but I'm definitely doing it. 'Cause I only have a 2. Come here. Don't. Okay, yes, I did take it off advantage.
Yeah, good enough. Uh,
Okay.
so I'm assuming you're spending the entirety of the month learning.
Mhm. As
Okay.
much of the time as I can sacrifice when I'm not training Boo Boo, because I think I still need to train him for like a week.
Mm-hmm. But it does not take you the whole day to do either
Yeah.
task, so you can do both at the same time.
Okay, cool.
So
So yeah.
you gain 26 days of primordial
Sweet.
on top of how much you already know.
18.
And she does give you one of her own books.
Oh, perfect. So I have another book.
So, on top of the strange translation guide that Elias let you keep, you now have a book that actually is like a proper tutorial book on language. So, between these two books, you can get up to uh, 200 days total. You'll have to practice with somebody who can speak it to get the last 50 days.
Okay, so I am up to 200. I just need to practice with somebody who actually
No,
speaks it
you
to get the
can get to 200 with
Oh, I
these books.
can get to Okay, I'm just
They
making sure.
so you can't get all the way through a language without learning both sides of the language, talking and reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taken enough
Uh,
language course classes
the
to know
26
that.
days with Leah don't count because you weren't actually speaking any of it. She's teaching you the basics on how to pronounce the syllables, but not how to string words together.
Okay, so I still need to do 50 with a person speaking it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, you have to do 50 days worth of the highest tier French course where you do nothing but speak French.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bubo is now fully trained, and you can still do light activities for the remaining 3-ish weeks that you have while learning Primordial. Your parents do come and visit for a few days, and then they disappear for 2 weeks, and then they come back again.
Okay.
Probably on a guiding, trying to get someone through the woods kind of thing. They do inform you that they brought a wolf to Devlin, and he was so happy about having the little wolf after. Did you know that Diretooth died? He was apparently very distraught about it.
Yeah, there's a sound that comes out of Amartia,
Like a painful, sad sound.
uh-huh. Like, I'm thinking a miss note on a violin.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of a noise. Like, might have been there. Things did not go well. For clarification of the audience, not my fault.
All right, so you have one of the uh, items for your wolves. Insignia of claws.
Yep.
This necklace. Boom. So you have one of
Yeah.
your insignia of claws. The second one will be finished shortly after you leave, and your mother does tell you she will deliver it to you.
I think I'll put that one on Kipcha because she's got the lower health.
Okay.
So that'll work.
Interesting side note.
Yeah.
Your father brought home another animal, but he's keeping this one.
Okay.
uh,
I, yeah,
Additionally, after your parents return, and as your time to return to Ardlin draws closer, in the midst of the night, as you're laying down for rest and you're thinking about Elson and the grove, go to sleep and you have a dream.
Of course I do.
Yeah. In this dream, you're at the grove with the white sky and the tall trees. Look about and you don't see anyone, but you hear someone.
Okay.
Child,
Hello.
come closer to me.
Can I hear a direction the voice is coming from, or is it just like
Sounds like it's coming from the water.
I'll go closer to the water?
As you approach, the voice speaks again, and you see all of the water reverberates as she speaks. Welcome to my home in your mind.
I feel well. Also confused.
Perhaps a more material form. And you watch as the water begins to pull up from the pond and form into a sort of Nereid-like form, but with huge antlers coming up out of her head that spiral off into, they look like branches with leaves, and it forms into a massive halo over her head. And you see, as the water continues to pull, the hair is formed of leaves and her body is water, but she's got dark skin in certain places. She
Amartia just
looks
kind
like
of
an amalgamation of all sorts of fey creatures.
fair. She kind of reaches up and touches the horns where there's the little like growths, and goes, "You're Eldath,
Very good.
but I. How are you here in my head? Or am I in that demi-plane that I was before?"
The gigantic 20-foot tall form starts to shrink as she takes steps forward and to stands exactly eye level at you as she's, 3 feet away from you. This is your mind, or more precisely, your soul.
Okay.
You share a fraction of me.
Um, this may sound dumb, possibly a little rude, but how? I'm a tiefling.
Your
How
birth
do I
is a matter.
share? Hmm?
Your birth does not matter. Your soul is not determined by birth.
Oh.
Your soul was predetermined long before your time, as are many. And in my death, your soul caught part of me, as I scattered amongst the cosmos, as many did in the falling day.
Hence all the gross. Okay. And that's why I'm receiving these gifts
It's part
from
of the
the other.
reason.
What's
You
the other part?
had to earn a sort of trust. There are many who carry a fraction of me in them. You, raised by your druidic parents and friend to the little Ratacha, and Kipcha, and Kaz, and Bubo, you are worthy.
Worthy of what in the end?
I am dead. Someone must carry my power. For what ends? I will leave that to you. But if it is not gathered, someone else may take it. Someone darker. Someone ferocious. And as
Does that
she's
someone have a name?
saying, well, as she's saying this, you watch as the water begins to pull up out of the pond again and starts to form a shape.
Oh no.
There are many who carry a part of my soul, but only one was deemed absolutely unworthy. A bestial man. And it starts to form into a shape, and you see a 12-foot tall werewolf. But he's not just this form. And you watch as more pools of begin to pull up, and you see a massive were-tiger and a massive were-boar. He wears many animal guises, and a were-shark, and a were-rat. In fact, he seems to be using my power to pull on many new forms of lycanthropy. And you see just a huge array of all sorts of different creatures.
Then, and I thought dealing with one werewolf was bad enough.
It is only one. The issue is that he's changing his form at will. And she collapses all of the forms together, and you see a single man, about 8 feet tall, a Goliath. He calls
Be taller
himself
than
a beast master, but not in the same form as yourself. He seems to think that it means to be a beast in his own form. In truth, I believe he's more like that Lufia.
Minus probably the dancing string.
Hmm.
Is
Because of his unique gift, he's decided to give up his mortal name. Now simply calls himself the Hound. Because his preferred form, and she molds the shape that's in front of you, and looking much like the statue of Anubis, except more dog form than just the head.
mm-hmm.
You see a massive werehound.
Wunderbar.
His preferred form, with which he calls many were creatures to his aid. And he decimates whatever cities he seems fit. Although thankfully, he's well contained for the time. He's been tearing himself through the Aldrin Isles. Which, for reference, the Aldrin Isles are up at the northwest.
Okay. Breaker Islands. There we are. Aldrin Isles. Okay. Thank you, because I needed to figure out how to spell that.
The jungle terrain makes it easy to mask himself and his followers. They've come to call themselves the Hounded. Simply the Hounded. You will want to grow stronger in time, but I will hope you will eventually face him.
Ah. But in the meantime, just keep collecting your pieces?
Oh, yes. Part of myself resides within my daughters. You've already met Elsin. There are a few others, though not all of them reside on your mortal plane.
Of course.
The next of my daughters on your mortal plane lies in a rockier place. I believe you call them the Vitruth Mountains. It's a wild place, and she adores it there. Exploding squirrels and flying bears.
Wait, exploding. Oh.
Yes, your Lorelei friend. She friend? I don't think that's the right word. Your Lorelei acquaintance is from there.
That's a better word. That's a better word. Uh, yeah, I remember hearing something about exploding squirrels. Okay. That's that's good to know.
You'll need to make your way to the grove in those mountains. Lorelei might be a decent guide, but I'd ask her father instead, if you ever meet him. You're looking for Taralia.
Thank you.
Taralia is the spirit of the earth. She keeps herself entertained with stone elementals and
Oh,
exploding squirrels against them. Is what you might consider the wildest of my daughters.
Uh,
But aside from her, my other daughters do not reside on your mortal plane, though there are fragments of myself as well. There's a pond on the northern end of Wildermyth that they forbid entrance into. Marked it some sort of holy place. You'll need to gather more of my fragments before you can willingly come to this place on your own.
right. Okay. She's just like mentally making notes while I am currently making physical notes.
You aren't in any kind of rush. You have time. Your life is longer now, as I believe my daughter has told you. And it will
Right, which
continue to grow longer the more pieces you collect.
just mild curiosity, but is it possible that I'll become immortal? That's an odd thing to think about.
Once you become fully Fey, yes, not immortal in the sense you may think. You'll still die,
Mm,
but you'll be reborn. If you manage to collect all of my soul, then you will become as a god.
that's a very odd thing to consider.
Mind you, you'll be very much a lesser god. Even myself was considered a lesser god to higher powers.
I mean, a god's still a god. It's still awfully powerful to tiny little mortals like myself.
There may come a day when you decide to be or not to be, but that's far in your future.
Okay. It's odd to consider
It was
why
odd.
I was picked.
As I said, you were the one who bore a part of me that seemed worthy. There are many who contain a portion of my soul, but most of them do not have respect for nature. They don't understand what it means to be still, or, worse yet, they cause disruptions in the water.
Hmm. Literally, I assume.
And figuratively. You'll begin to feel it, the pulse, whenever you are close to a portion of me. Same as you feel, and she makes a ripple in the water, and you feel the ripple in yourself. Just as you will be alerted to them, they will be alerted to you. So, it's best you keep yourself away from the hound until you're ready.
Don't enter the Aldrin Isles. Good to know.
If he should manage to escape the Isles, I'll do my best to give you warning, but you need to understand, this dream we are having right now is rare. I cannot reach you on my own. You cannot reach me on your own. You may need to call upon my daughters.
I did that.
Elsin is given a portion of her power, but even if you call her to you, she won't be able to do it alone. Find my daughters, and find my fragments, and we will have these dreams again.
Alright. I'll do my best.
I believe in you.
That makes
You
one of us.
are going to do great things, whether you want to or not. She reaches forward and kind of presses on your chest, and you feel yourself falling backward and splash into the water, even though you weren't standing in front of it.
Yeah,
She sinks back into the pond, and so does the form of the hound, until it is just still. Feel the reverberations in the water as she speaks once more. It is time for you to awaken, but I have a question before you go. What kind of adventurer are you? Are you a protector? Are you a controller? Or are you a master?
I'd like to call myself a protector. I am too inexperienced to consider myself a master, though.
Very good. Feel the reverberations shakes through your body even after she speaks. And you awake in your bed. Feel healthy. Your maximum hit points have returned after you've lost them while helping Buttercup.
All two.
And on top of that, you gain a +1 to your constitution. And one more additional spell.
Ew, which one?
Based on your answer to the question, you have gained the spell Guardian of Nature.
Yes!
You may cast this once per day at no cost.
Yay! I love that spell.
Yeah, no, the second form seems very useful to a archer like yourself.
Oh, abso-mother-fucking-lutely. I've just never been able to actually use it for my archer ranger people.
Just so you're aware, there were 2 other spells that you may have gotten if you had answered differently. I will not tell you what they were.
Nah, it's fine. I'm happy with this.
All right.
I'm very happy with this.
You, as you awake from this dream, you do see, same as the 3 rings on yourself, on your horns, there is a singular ring of water on Rachicha's tail.
I kind of... Is he awake or is he still asleep?
He's still sleeping.
I'll mess with him later. I'll point it out when he wakes up. I was like, oh, hey, got something caught in your tail. Okay, then.
Eventually, Rachicha wakes up and just immediately starts freaking out about the water on his tail. He touches it. It's wet, but his tail's not wet, and no matter what he presses it against, it doesn't cause that to become wet. So he puts it against the bedspread, and no. And he puts it against you, and no, that doesn't do anything.
Well, buddy, I guess we're stuck together.
Rogers is
See?
just in
Went
your
too
head.
far.
He just seems confused.
See? We match.
All right. Unless there's anything else you wanted to do with your lesson downtime while learning primordial.
None specifically. I can't touch the lake at Wildermouth, so I can't look into that at all. Actually, there is one more thing. I think I've
Not until
researched just
later.
about as much
Oh,
as I
damn it.
Oh,
like,
damn what?
so
You
I've
missed
I've
something, didn't you?
yeah, I told Chris and no one else because I'm constantly having to repeat myself and I keep forgetting that I have specific parts to go over. So on top of the
Uh-huh.
100 gold, everyone got a letter from Tina, like
Ah,
a sort of letter of introduction or letter of recommendation. Just,
okay.
hey, I'm cool with the Fagard kind of letter.
Okay.
It won't help you
Uh,
get to the pool, but
no, 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 no. I didn't think so. It'd be nice, but I doubt it. Um,
yeah,
okay.
if you're ever in need of like getting the Fagard's assistance, you can use the letter, or if you know it's a lot like the little disc that the Mighty Nine have from the Bright Queen. If you're that far in the second
I
campaign,
am not, but I can figure out what it means. I am very, 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 very,
it's an
very far
insignia that
behind.
says, "Hey, we're cool with the government."
Yeah, essentially. Um, I did just come up with one random little thing now that I have more like water capabilities now. And I might ask Betty this just one day of like, do you happen to know if there are such things as like waterproof bags so that stuff stays safe?
Oh, there's some simple enchanting for protecting books and bags and such.
What does that take?
Oh, it's not something I know. You'd need a wizard or an alchemist, I suppose.
Are there wizards or alchemists in Wilderness?
Oh, sure. If you go to the very top of the library, that's where the wizards usually are. You can
Perfect.
ask them if
I
you want, but they're usually a little. She makes like a weird gesture of like hoity-toity, like
ah
prim and proper, and drinking tea with a little top hat and a monocle.
ah
Not quite culturally the same, but you get what she's meaning.
yeah the stuck up. I think that's the word I'm thinking of. Ah well, an attempt is better than nothing.
I'm sure Lee
I'm
is also
learning from
waiting for
last
you, so
campaign.
off you trot.
Ah. Yeah, I'll try to see if I can make a special trip to go visit the wizards.
Okay, after your training with Leah, you do make your way up lots and lots of flights of stairs. Probably eventually flying just because of the ease on your legs.
Yep, probably. If I have the room, yes. Like flying would be so much easier at this point.
Kind of have to hug up next to the tree and watch out for limbs, but yeah, you fly your way up the tree until you get to a point where you go up above the tree and just have free access flying through open section of the floor, which is left available for when the tree continues to grow.
Perfect. Perfect for me.
You eventually get up towards the higher ends, and you you have to stop and land as people are calling towards you that you can't fly here.
Sorry.
As you land, there's a bunch of scholarly looking elves in robes with lots and lots of arcane books just all over the place. The one that addressed you, just kind of a little bit of a huff, fixes his clothes. Hello. believe you are in need of a wizard if you are coming to these heights.
Yes, yes, I am. I was told that a wizard would be able to craft or enchant a waterproofing spell onto a backpack so that items don't get wet inside.
Trifle, yes.
Oh, believe me, it's not.
Let's
She
see.
says from last campaign.
It it wasn't last campaign either, but nobody bothered to try. Lorelei did have a not Lorelei. Ash did have a waterproof book after that encounter, though. She did go
Yeah,
out and get one.
sure. After the fact.
Anyway, he kind of leads you up a few flights of stairs and then back down a flight of stairs, and oh, he's around here somewhere. And he takes out a little copper wire and points up. Yes, I need to speak to Eldaya. And then he waits, points down. Is Eldaya down there? Found him. Okay. Back down. He leads you back down like 3 flights of stairs. Eldaya! Yes, hello. And you see, whereas most of the elves who are here are high elves, specifically sun elves, Eldaya is a wood elf.
Ah. More familiar with this.
He looks aged for an elf. Means he's very, very old. Hundreds and hundreds.
Yep.
Oh,
That I understand.
hello.
Hello.
I'm Eldaya.
I'm Amartia. Pleasure to meet you.
She wants a bag enchanted to be waterproof. Oh, I can assist with that. Come with me, young one. And he takes you off to a small side room. Do you have the item with you?
Yes, just I'm getting the feeling that I'm going to end up in the water a lot, so I figured I'd get my backpack waterproofed just in case. Kind of just holds up her pack that she usually wears.
Oh, good. He takes it from you and sets it down on a stone pillar that has etching all around it in silver. So, waterproof, yes?
Yes.
Very good. Mm, I will need about 50 gold for this.
Oh, it's easy enough. And she'll rummage through and produce, uh, yes, 50 gold.
Takes the 50 gold, pockets about 10 of it, and takes 40 of it and starts to fill in like around the bag. And then he goes over to a corner of the room and grabs a small pouch and takes some dust out and goes between and forms a little circle between all of the coins. Very good, very good. All right. Now, while I'm doing this, would you like me to make it a color?
It would be nice, like a nice forest green.
Forest green. Good choice. And he starts chanting some arcane words and making motions, and then he sets his hands down onto the pillar, and there's a very bright light. It'll take about an hour of infusing, so you may want to go sit outside, or you can take a seat over there.
I think I have some primordial homework I should go over, so I think I'll take a seat if you don't mind.
Good.
Homework.
After about an hour of this pillar just constantly glowing, it eventually stops. You see a forest green bag, hands it towards you. Well, no water should seep through it, and no water can get into the entrance even when it's open. So if
Oh.
you need to store a water pouch, don't put it in there. And he takes a
Good
vial of
to know.
water and tries to put it into the bag, and it won't go in.
I'll keep my water skin hooked to the side.
And he puts the vial of water back in his pouch. Very good. You now have a hydrophobic bag.
That'll work very, very well. Especially with the adventures I'm probably gonna get into. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
A question before you go.
Hmm.
Your horns.
Uh-huh.
You are a tiefling, yes?
Last I checked.
Might I trouble you for a little bit of blood for some research?
She kind of tilts her head to the side, very confused. What sort of research, if you don't mind me asking?
I am studying the mutations within humans that causes your race to exist. We are aware of the relationship effect, but we are trying to learn what exactly is different blood-wise.
Um, well, sure. If it'll help
It'll
with
only be a little bit of a prick. And he takes out a small vial and a very tiny knife.
teeny, teeny
Hold
tiny.
out your hand for me. Just a
She'll
finger,
hold out her
actually.
hand.
He pricks one of your fingers and draws just a few drops of blood out into the vial and then caps it. Very good. Thank you.
No problem. I hope that it's helpful. I
I
mean,
do too.
I don't really know how I'm a tiefling, but I was adopted.
Oh, you don't know what tieflings are?
I've met a few tieflings. I've just never grown up with them.
I can explain if you want, as far as what makes you you. Although, from the looks of you, you're a new kind. Most are
Oh,
not so.
the
Most aren't so. Elven?
that I already know. This is let's just say I've had some adventures. That's something else entirely.
Interesting. Okay. As far as what a tiefling is, they're usually the bloodline of a human and a devil of some sort.
Makes sense, I guess, but
They can lie dormant for many, many years.
so it's possible my real parents might not have been tieflings?
It's possible your parents were both perfectly normal humans, but one of them carried a dark bloodline that manifested in you. That's why we are studying blood, to understand what causes it to manifest. Because
Her
why
ears
does it
kind of
skip certain humans and not the tieflings?
she kind of her ears kind of droop slightly and goes, "Oh. Well,
Although there is a rare version of tieflings that are just sort of born. That one's a little harder to explain. It's sort of like the devil wants a kid, and then he forces a human to bear the kid, and it comes out as a tiefling. That's a very different case, though.
I can imagine. Um ah. Well, eh,
And
yeah.
anyway, thank you for the blood, and
You're
I
welcome.
hope you
Good
enjoy your
luck.
bag.
Oh, it'll be very useful. Thank you very much again.
It gives a bit of a half nod or half bow.
She nods and turns to walk out of the library.
Makes her way back down.
Mhm.
And if there's nothing else you would like to do,
Nope,
I'll go
that's
ahead
pretty much
and
it.
fast forward. Your parents have been back for about 4 days or so. They've been relaxing with Aunt Betty, and then your father in the morning is, well, you believe your friends are expecting you in Odlin, so we should make haste. Also, I think Lufia passed through a little while ago. As in, like a week ago. Because
uh,
we noticed him on our way back to you.
I'm assuming I've been too busy to notice.
But just as well, he probably was busy with whatever that caravan was.
Caravan?
Hmm, yes.
I'll have to ask him about that when I run into him. I've been trying to get further in my studies.
Well, I believe Leo gave you a book, so you can continue your studies while you're with your friends.
Oh, yes.
Companions. Companions sounds better. Well,
Yep.
let us off with you back to Ardlin.
Uh, see you later, Aunt Betty. Good luck with the second insignia. We'll keep an eye out for it.
If your parents don't come get it, I'll send it to you. As long as you're in Ardlin.
Uh, hopefully, maybe I'll still be there. I have like how much time left before it's done?
Like 2 days.
Okay, yeah, then ought to be able to stick around Ardlin for a couple more days. I just don't want them to think I've disappeared.
Well, it was nice having you. And, oh, for the road. And she gives you a small little pouch of tea
Thanks, appreciated.
and something else. And she gives you a much larger pouch of nuts.
Yeah, I'm gonna need those.
Yeah, probably.
Racha
Well,
already looks probably excited.
she puts a hand on your cheek. Bye. And then she puts a hand on Rachicha. Goodbye. And she gives him a little scratch. Your
Goodbye.
parents lead you and your entourage of animals back to the landing pad, and you guys wind walk your way to Ardlin. And we will pick up next week from there.